Alright everybody, I'm going to show everyone how to add a roof drain and plumbing system to this beautiful building we have here. So first thing we're going to do is learn how to slope the roof and make the changes so that we can actually slope to the right drain, right? So we have a flat roof here, no slope added to it with the structural system on the interior. So, as you probably already know, there's many ways to slope a roof, but the way that we'll talk about quickly is modifying what is called the sub elements, these points up here. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the place where I want the low points to happen. So I'm going to find my center point of my roof here. It's big enough that I'll probably need 2 roof drains, probably actually a little more, but we'll just show 2 for now. So I'm just going to find my kind of center points here. So I'm just drawing some guidelines to find where these points are. Those are the points that I want to place the low points of the roof. As you probably already know, the roofs typically need to slope at 1/4 inch per foot. A flat roof slopes at 1/4 inch per foot. So we have about 25 feet. So 25 1/4 inches is about 6 1/4 inches. So we would need to be, this point here would need to be 6 1/4 inches lower than the point on the exterior. So I'm going to select the roof here and I'm going to add a point. So it brings me inside of this editing tool where I can add points. So I'm going to add 2 points, one at the center of these 2 lines and one at the center of these 2 lines. And if I select, these 2 points, I can then modify their heights. So I'm going to make this minus, I'm actually just going to round up to 7 inches. So I'm going to make that minus 7 inches, and you'll see that I now have a slope here. So if I escape out of that, that tool, and I look at a 3D view now, so I'm just pull up my 3D view. Looks like I may have 2 roofs on the same spot. So I have a floor there. So now you can see that I have a roof that has 2 low points. In theory, we would also want to just delete these guidelines so we can see this a little better. In theory, this whole entire line is a low point. So you don't necessarily need to do this for your assignment, but just for your education here, we would actually have what is called a cricket that would look something like this in this area, which would basically be a high point here, so that water coming down this slope would hit this line and kind of drain directly to the roof drain. So I can show you quickly how to do that. So I'm just going to find the center point of this. Similarly, instead of adding sub-elements, what I'm going to do is add a split line, and it'll allow me to draw the edges of this cricket. So I'm going to add another split line on the other side, something like this, and then add a split line here. And I actually could split here, and then I can actually raise this point up, so I can, instead of it being 6 inches or it looks like it's down -5 or so, let's just do -3 inches. Do these 2 points at -3 inches. It's not quite the way I want it to look. Let me see here. So let me edit the modify sub elements. 5 3/4. I'm going to add a split line down the center here. Maybe I can add a point at the center. And then this will be -3 inches. Let's try that. It looks a little better there. So you can see I now have if I isolate this roof, you'll see that I have slopes coming down with a high point here and low points there. If I annotated the slope of this, you'll see that I have a 1/2 inch slope down that way. The arrow always points down the slope. Okay, jumping back into that, so you'll see that all of these arrows are pointing down, meaning that this roof is sloping downwards, and you can see that in these areas it is sloping towards those lines, meaning that if water was to flow down this roof, it would hit this line and flow down into the low point, which is where we will place our roof drains. Something to note about this, if I drew a section through here, you can see that I'm seeing columns pop up through my roof there. And if I look at a section, let me cut that back a little bit so we're not seeing so much. You'll see that we are sloping, it's sloping on the top and the bottom. So you'll see that we're off the top of the beams here, and we're below them in some locations. So one thing we can do here to prevent that, so we don't have these big gaps, is we can, if you go into edit the roof type, and we'll duplicate this, and we'll call this sloped insulation. And if I go to edit and I add a layer here, I'll make this rigid insulation like this. I'll give this a thickness of about 4 inches. I think that might be enough. And we may have to make it a little larger here. We'll see if I get an error. And I check this box here that says variable. And I hit OK. And I hit OK again. See how here it says the roof is too thin for this given type. I'm going to hit cancel for a second. I'm going to redo that one more time. I think I need to make, you basically need to have a material that's thick enough to accommodate the deepest part of the slope. So let me rename that again, slope insulation, edit, insert, move this up. It's rigid, so we want that to be on top. I want rigid insulation here. I'm just gonna make this 1 foot 6 inches thick. I'm gonna hit OK. And that should definitely be enough there. Okay, so that is going, oh, I forgot to hit the variable. Let me do that. Let me go back in there. I forgot to click this button right here, variable, hit OK, hit OK. And you'll see now that the bottom of my roof is flat while the top, so that's a little drastic, is sloping. I'm gonna bring that down a little. I'm gonna make that, see if we can make that, see if we can get away with 8 inches. Hit OK. If I hit apply, it looks a little better. Not as drastic. So you can see that the insulation is sloping and the bottom is not. So I could actually come in here and adjust all of these. If I really wanted to, I could move all of these up to they could be right onto the underside of the roof here. So I could move all of that stuff up. So I can make that 0. I can make these 0. And I could make these 0. So that I was right on the underside and I could accomplish my roof slope with sloped insulation rather than sloping the structure. So now you can see I'm all cleaned up over here. Everything looks nice and clean. And I have a roof slope. Or a sloped roof with the 2 low points where we will eventually put the roof drains. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to save that. I'm actually going to create a new project because, as we all know, we need to use the mechanical template. So I'm going to go to project. I'm going to click mechanical template because I'm going to be putting in piping. I'm going to put in the roof drain. So I'm going to do it in the mechanical template. I'm going to hit OK. It's going to create a new project here. Right here, I'm going to close out because if it won't let me link this project in if I have it open. So I'm now going to link the model that I just made into this new model. So I'm going to go to Insert, Link Revit, find the project that I made. I'm going to hit Open. It should pop in here. We'll see the project that I built pop in there. Before I do anything with the roof drains, I'm going to match up my levels here so you can see those two are already in the right spot. So I'm just going to create some new levels here and here so that I have matching kind of levels for all of my various, all of the same levels that I have in my other project here. So I'm just going to rename these quick so that way I know which ones are which. I'm going to call it, just put mechanical at the front of each of these. This level 2. I'm going to do level 1, MEC underscore level 1. It's always good to have a good naming convention for these things. So now you'll see that I have matching levels here. So I can recreate the roof plan that has the same height here. So if I go to view, I'm going to create a new plan, floor plan. I'm going to pick my mechanical roof and hit OK. And now I can see a roof plan that is the same as the roof plan in my other project. So the first thing I need to do before I can place anything is I need to insert the roof drain. So if I go into insert, I can load family. You'll probably come out to this section. So a roof drain is a plumbing item, so we're going to go into plumbing. Because we're doing an MEP system, it's usually best when you're actually building MEP systems to use the MEP families rather than the architectural ones. So I'm going to click on MEP. I'm looking for a fixture, and the fixture is a drain, and you'll see that there is a roof drain right here. So I can open that up. So now I have the roof drain in the project. To place the roof drain, I can go into architecture component, and now I have a roof drain here. You can see that you can change the size of the drain or the size of the strainer. I'll just leave it the standard for now. I'm going to place this on a work plane. It's usually a little better graphically in floor plans to do it on a work plane. You can place it on the face, but you'll potentially have some issues with the way that it'll actually be sloping based on that plane. So I'm going to actually just place it on the work plane, and we can adjust it as needed. So my work plane is a mechanical roof. So I obviously need a drain at my low points here and here. In theory, you also need what is called an overflow. So this roof drain is going to pull all the water in off of these two roof drains. So this roof drain will take all the water from this line to here, and this one will take all the water from this line over. But you know, the way the plumbing code works is if we need to basically have a backup. So if I looked at a 3D view of this, and you imagine if I didn't have any roof drain at all, and I have a parapet here, I'm basically building a little swimming pool that is going to cause us some major problems if these drains fail. So the plumbing code actually requires us to have what are called overflow drains. So an overflow drain is a drain that is higher on the roof than the actual main drain, and this drain is only quote unquote activated if you can imagine this drain is higher. So if I drew a section through here, I have to adjust their heights. It won't look 100% correct. So you'll see that they're all down. So I'm going to adjust their heights up a little bit. Let's make them 4 inches. Let's make it a little higher, maybe 6 inches. Looks about right. I'm going to turn on my. I'm actually going to go into visibility graphics and turn off the levels of my other model. So if I go to Revit links, you can see here, this is the model that I have linked in. I can go, if I click here, the display settings, and click by host view, I can click custom and go to annotation categories, and I can click custom here, and I can go down and I can actually turn off the levels in that other model. So you'll see that those levels disappeared there, so I just have the levels in my project. So here we go. So now you can see I actually kind of coincidentally got these roof drains in about the right spot. They're between, oh, this one is a problem, but this drain is between the two beams. I would have to go back into that model and adjust these ones. But it's between, that one's between. This one just barely makes it, but this one I, in theory, would have to go back to that other model and adjust that roof drain over to miss that column, or to miss that beam or roof joist. But if I look here, you'll see now that that is outside of my low point. So in theory, I would have to go back into that other model and shift this low point over to this spot so that my roof was draining properly. For this sake, I'm just going to leave it like this for now, so we can so we can get through the roof drain bit of this. So now I have, you can see here, if I turn on my thin lines, these two drains are actually more like here-ish. So if this drain was to back up, water would build up on this slope, up, until it hit this drain, and then it would start to flow into the overflow. Same on the other side. In theory, these overflows have to report. So these roof drains, the main ones, can just go, they could go down and under the slab and, you know, connect to the sewer system. So these overflows actually, one, are not allowed to connect to the sewer system. They would have to report to a space on the building where you'd be able to see water coming out if they were being activated. So that way, someone on the down here on the ground level walking by would see water coming out of a pipe on the side of the building, which would indicate that, hey, there's a problem up on this roof. Somebody needs to look at it. So to finish the roof drain, you know, we can't bring water into the building and just dump it in. So I'm going to go up on the mechanical level here. I'm going to draw a section right here next to this roof drain. And I'm actually going to pull it back here a little bit so I don't see too much of what's going on. I'm going to look at it this way. I'm going to turn on my fine view so I can see my structural elements. Because I want to make sure that the pipe that comes off of this drain misses any structural elements that are in the way here. So the easiest way to do that is when you have the drain selected, you can see that it has an 8-inch diameter out, as you can see here, the 8-inch drain. If you just click on this pipe, it'll let you start drawing automatically from the with the correct size. So I'm going to click down, click over. I'm going to make sure that I'm missing my my beams there, and I may actually have to, I might be able to squeeze this in here. Let's see if we can squeeze it in. And I need to come down the building, and let's say I'm going to go out, you know, out onto the ground, or out and underground. So you can see here, I actually am not making it. I could then probably can't even squeeze that in here. So in theory, I'd probably have to pull this roof drain here, and then on my floor plan, I would have to coordinate where that, so you can mount that directly underneath here, but I would have to coordinate on my floor plan. If I looked at my second floor plan here, let me see, is it on the second floor plan? Make sure my plumbing is showing. Plumbing might be because of my, let me see here, where is my, let me see, maybe my pipes aren't showing on my second level. Let me go to visibility graphics. Plumbing fixtures are showing. Pipes are showing. Where is my plumbing line? Let me look at a 3D view here. Turn on my fine view. Not sure why that's not showing up. Let me go to mechanical level here. So I'm seeing seeing everything there. Should be seeing a pipe over here. Not exactly sure why that's not showing. Select all everything, turn it on, see if there's anything to do with that. Okay, that's not it. Let me up my scale. Not 100% sure why that is not popping up. I'll look more into that, but for now, you'll see that I have a plumbing line coming here. I would need to coordinate. I wouldn't want a plumbing line just floating out in the middle of space. If I wanted to, I could kind of pull this under and bring it closer to that wall if I wanted. Or I could move the beam if I gave it some more space here to allow that plumbing line to go through, or I could bring it straight down through the building. It could be inside of a wall and then make its way out. So one other thing we probably should take a look at, if I go back to this level here, I want to start to coordinate this one as well. This one is going to be a little different. So this one I might not want to have, I may want to group these two together so they're at least in the same spot in the building. So this one I'm actually going to run over this. Let me turn off, let me hide my roof for a second. I go to my mechanical roof. I'm going to hide the roof. Oops. I can't hide the roof, so I'm going to go BG. Let me turn off my mechanical plan. I'm going to turn off my template. Visibility graphics. I'm going to go to roofs. I'm going to not show that roof for a second so I can see underneath of it. I'm going to click over here like so. Oh. Probably, let me see, let me edit my view range. I want to look, let me look unlimited for now. And look at this section. So I want to bring this plumbing line over so it kind of runs next to here. So I'm going to click here, draw it down, I'll adjust this after and get to there. So I'll pull this up to align to this drain, like so. I will then go to the flip this section around so I can see that pipe. I can then draw this line over, down. So this one in theory would report to a place where I could see, so this would come out of the building at a higher level. I can align this, kind of clean this up a little bit. That seems good, seems good. And if I look in 3D now, you will see that I have two pipes, two drains that come and drain the roof. This one being my overflow drain, this one being my normal drain. This one's below grade, this one's above. You could see that I would want to coordinate this storefront here to make sure that obviously I wouldn't want my drain coming through my storefront, so maybe my storefront wouldn't be as long here, or maybe I would shift this over to come out of this wall, so maybe the version of this could be something, oops, instead of this, let me delete that. Maybe I could shift this over, pull this over, and I would pull this all the way over here potentially. And I could adjust the other one similarly so it's coming out of that wall. And then I can just reconnect these two here. So that way I have a drain that is connected, comes down and goes out of the wall rather than out of the storefront. And that's the basics of putting the roof drains together. You'll see that these two are still black, meaning they're not connected. Once you connect pipes to them, they turn green, basically kind of insinuating that these are part of a system. So if I just went into my visibility graphics real quick, let me turn off my roofs. Okay. You can see that I am now having to coordinate between these structural elements. It doesn't look like I'm running into anything there. I come underneath of them over here, and everything is working out. We may have an issue, so you can see we do have one issue right here, potentially at that beam where we would want to maybe edit this over, so that way it was running next to the beam, and make sure that, so we probably want to go back in and coordinate this face. Looks like we just make it, but I don't know that we'd actually be able to to build that in real life. But for the sake of these projects, you know, a basic level of coordination is all we're looking at. Thanks, everybody.